TC Spiritual Shepherd. Welcome back to the Spiritual Shepherd YouTube channel. Today we're talking about it is your time. It is your time. It is your time. Okay? A lot of us have sought validation almost our entire lives. Whether it's on a higher level or a lower level, most of us have done that, okay? And a lot of us have also done it very subconsciously and unconsciously, meaning that you always had to get your parents' validation. You always had to get, your best friend's validation. You always had to get a parental unit, or you always had to get a guardian, or someone older than you, or your brothers, or your sisters, or somebody who was, I guess, smarter or more intelligent, or whatever could, protect you, which we're all grateful for. We are all grateful that we have brothers and sisters and family members and moms and dads. We are definitely grateful that we do have these. What I'm saying, okay, if you guys hear what I'm saying, is it's your time now. And for them, it's also their time. It's our time. It's our time for us to look within ourselves and validate the higher version of ourselves and fulfill that and live it and be it and do it. Take active action towards the higher self. Okay? And some people might be tripping when I say higher self. Look at who you are. Are you the best case scenario? Or could you be better? Could you be higher? That's who I'm talking about. That's all. And that is your intuition and calling from the Most High God to be in alignment and resonance and in harmony and melody with nature. With nature, because you are a natural being, okay? And a lot of us, human beings, are out of nature, if you cannot tell. But all other beings are in nature. You can also tell that, right? So is it so outlandish for me to ask or to say, let's get more in alignment with our higher selves, which is more in connection and conjunction and harmony and melody with nature, with sustainability, because we know that we're mostly unsustainable because of our greed and our pride. What is pride? Pride is so much, it's all about me. Pride and arrogance are synchronistic and similar. The funny thing is unknowingness and unconsciousness towards a being who is confident could be projected into society and onto that person's arrogant. As well as, what is pride times pride equal? What does pride times pride equal? Okay, it also breeds ignorance. And it also breeds entitlement, which is what I talk about all the time. Pride times pride equals entitlement, which means that I don't have to do anything, and I don't have to do anything to have everything. And I'm not saying that there aren't ways to cultivate manifestation. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that when nobody's done any work, the work instills the worth. So make sure that you're getting up early. Make sure that you're actually putting yourself in check. And I'm talking about, who do I mean by yourself in that case? I'm talking about your ego. Get your ego in check. Make sure your spirit is prominent rather than your flesh. And it's going to take some time. It might take some effort. It might take some action. It might take some discernment and some discipline to really cultivate getting your flesh in order. But it's important. It's of most importance to really see who you are as a spiritual being rather than a physical being. We are spiritual beings in a human body, okay? In a body. We are spiritual beings. We're spirits in a body. We're not bodies with the spirit, okay? It's different. You are a spiritual being, okay? More of what you identify yourself as is your thoughts, your emotions, your words, and then at the lowest form, some people identify as their bodies. Okay, and we all might also go in and out of different types of things like this. But it is our time. It is our time to level up. It is our time to validate who we are. It's our time to validate our own emotions. It's our time to validate our own words. It's our time to validate our own mindset. It's our time to validate our own spirituality. When it is unbeknownst to most people, okay, when it is unknown to most people, and it is projected as fear and hatred and condemnation. Remember, do you remember? Do you remember when Christ spoke, Yeshua the Christ had spoke, the anointed one, when he spoke and he said, if you were to be persecuted, just know that you are persecuted because I was first persecuted. Christ was first persecuted. The higher self, the highest version of ourselves was first persecuted, because the people who are on the walk are shutting up. They're not persecuting me. The people who are breatharians, the people who are practicing their fasting properly, who are not eating and not drinking, and they are doing their qigong. Oh, I said it. Qi stands for cross. If you look at qi in Greek, which is also how we have, it is an X. It is a 10. It is a 10, which is an X. Okay, a Roman numeral X. Okay, and that X is a cross, and that cross means crux, and that crux is crucifixion, and that crucifixion means to amplify tenfold or ultimately 1,000-fold. So when you're to be crucified, you are to amplify someone suffocating 1,000-fold. That's what it is. Let me just say it for you. That is what it is. Do we actually understand? Like, I'm saying on the grand scheme, I know that there are some people who are listening to this who get it, who trust me. And trust me, the thing about this is that I know that there are some people who do not know what a crucifixion is. It is suffocation. It is suffocation. Why suffocation? Why would the Romans, remember, the Romans, they say they had mastered removing the spirit of bodies. What is the spirit? Breath. Breath. In Hebrew, it's ruach, which is breath. Okay? Breath, ruach. Okay? And ruach means spirit. That they're interconnected. Breath and spirit, which is also known as chi, which is known as Christ. Okay? So breath is Christ. The breath of life. I breathe the breath of life into my beings, into my my sons and my daughters. It's not difficult to get. The thing is like, what has sustained you more than food and water? When you're not eating and drinking, what has sustained you? Sunlight, first and foremost, and breath. Sunlight and breath. And once you start to see those two things, you start to see differently. But the things of the modern day man, the bad mind man, the Babylonian bald head, ultimately, is that they do not comprehend. They do not see. They do not see with their mind's eye. They see with their dual eyes. They see as separation. They see as you or I. They don't see as I and I. They don't see that we are the same. They think that your blood is different than my blood. They think that your color is different than my color. And if you talk to the right people, they know. If you talk to the right people, they know. And generally we shut up about it. We are not overly vocal about it, other than when we're teaching but we're still staying in our own lane. I'm still staying in my own lane. I'm in my own lane. You don't have to be on my YouTube channel if you don't want to be on my YouTube channel, but you're choosing to be here through your consensual authority, through your autonomy. You are consenting to be here to some degree. Okay, and I'm going to give you guys the best version of how I can give you guys this. And obviously, we're going to be real, and we're going to be raw, and we're going to be authentic. We're going to be original. The thing about this is we overly speak, and we do not listen. The key is to really embody and listen to who you are. Okay? If you listen quietly, if you are still, you can hear your conscience. And that conscience is I'm not saying that that is God, but that is how God speaks through you as you. Okay? So what do I mean? I mean that your conscience, when you hear that voice in your head, it says, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, go this way. You should do this more. You should do this more. You should do this less. When you hear that voice, okay? I'm not saying that you all see, and also the negative aspect of that voice is what people see as the devil. Okay? So first of all, you have to train it to be a positive voice, which is positive magic, which was the last video. And you have to train it to be positive, which is reprogramming, which is subconsciously and unconsciously programming yourself to be positive. And then this also is at a higher vibration, so you attract higher vibration. You embody a higher vibration. You embody more availability for Christ. How do you do this? Fasting, cleaner foods, Qigong practice, breath practice, yoga, meditation, training, lifting, cardio. You already know what you're supposed to do. We already know what we're supposed to do, and most of it's free. The thing is, too, is as we're on this path, we discover that voice in our head, and that voice, you don't always want to listen to everything that voice has to say as well, because like I said, sometimes that could be a lower aspect. But once you train it to be a higher aspect and it guides you, go to the gym more. Yeah, go to the gym more. Go to the gym more. You know that that's positive because you know it only reaps rewards. Yo, do more breath work. Yeah, go more breatharian. Yeah, get into trading. Yeah, go down this. Yeah, go down this. Yeah, do your write more affirmations. Yeah. You know, and you start to hear more of that positive, leading voice in your head. That is the way that God speaks to you as you, meaning that it's a way that you understand how you can interpret him and how he speaks through you, which I believe is the Holy Spirit, ultimately, where you allow yourself to quiet yourself enough to hear the Holy Spirit speak within you. And not everybody might agree with this, and that's fine. I just think that so many people are quick to talk about negative aspects. So, you know, well, this is what this person does. I don't even want to use his name. You know what I mean? Like, but ultimately, you know, we'll just say it. You know, oh, this is what the devil will do. This is what the devil will do. Oh, this is how the devil does. Da, 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 da. And it's like, why are we so quick to speak like that when we can, like, every one of your words is important. And how do I prove this? What's important about your words is this, is if I tell you not to think about a blue elephant, you're going to immediately think about a blue elephant. So the important part is to speak positively, which is what I'm teaching. But the thing is that this Babylonian matrix ultimately will teach you to speak negatively. They'll teach you to speak about hate. Like, what are some of the lower vibrational things that our kids say nowadays, or the youth coming up? Dead ass. When people say dead ass, or I'm dead, you know, like shit like that, like da 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 da. Seriously? Like, can you already not see it? Like, if it makes you so happy, why you're like, I'm alive, yo, I'm so alive, I'm laughing so hard, I'm alive, bro, that's crazy, that's awesome. But yeah, like, I'm crazy, see, it's still, like, even in my mindset, like, that's crazy. Like, the way that I think is crazy. You want to know why I think what I think is crazy? Because everyone around me has projected that onto me consistently. You're crazy, TC. You're crazy, TC. You're crazy, TC. From the things that you think, you're so crazy. You're so crazy to think that love inspires all, and happiness and joy is, and speaking gratitude affirming words is crazy. Okay, sounds good. You know, thinking in positive vibrations is crazy. Okay, my bad. That's so low vibrational to think that is crazy. That is so low vibrational to think that is crazy. That is not crazy for someone to say to love themselves when they've hated themselves for fucking 15 years, when they've hated themselves for 20 years. And obviously this societal matrix tells you to hate yourself, tells you to be depressed. If you're depressed, you're not doing enough. You're not coming out with, like you're not speaking enough. You're not vocalizing enough. If you're anxious, you need to do more work. You need to really I'm going to put this in. Why would I be anxious? If I'm doing the right work, I wouldn't be anxious. Like right now, I'm not anxious. Right now, I'm not depressed. I'm passionate, and I'm passionate about my passion. I'm grateful about my passion. My passion is to speak. My passion is to motivate. My passion is to discipline and to discern and to amplify and to expand this great globe that we're on. If it's a globe, it's a firmament, by the way. It's a firmament, by the way. And there's a heavy amount of programming that you could choose to disagree with or whatever, or you could say, the first thing is to question in a positive way. God gave you contemplative abilities. So God gave you the ability to question things. Think about that. Contemplate on that. Contemplate that you are meant to question things. Okay? And it's a lifelong thing. It's not like you have 3 years to question. No, you have a lifelong journey to question things. You have a lifelong journey to affirm things, which means that you can affirm realities, but people don't even think that your words create reality. The word became flesh. The word became flesh. The word became physical, physics. Okay, the word became the 5 Platonic solids. You were made of the 5 Platonic solids. This is proven. The word became flesh. The word becomes real. Watch what you say, because what you say happens. That's in Daniel. Okay, there is such empowerment with studying more than just the New Testament and just the Gospels. I'm not saying don't just read those. Yes, read those, but I'm saying it's also important. It's 10:05 a.m., by the way. 10:05 a.m. It's very important that we study things that we don't know, that just validate our own opinions on things already. And really try to see how it can be connected. How can we see from other people's point of view? How can we look from other people's point of view? And how can we see how their point of view can shape and guide me to the truth? The thing is that I've mentioned this in multiple videos, and I've told this to multiple people, but above love, above, knowledge, above all this, above all this stuff, above fame and status and power, give me truth. Give me truth. Because the truth is, without a doubt, the greatest of all of these things. And it's important to trust the truth. And you can see the truth in all things. Even if people are identifying with a truth from the truth, okay, you could still see somewhat the truth that, okay, I can see a wise man can learn from a fool. A wise man can learn from a fool. But a fool is too foolish to see what the wise man is trying to teach the fool. Okay, but a wise man can learn from the fool, which is why the wise shut up and still listen to the fools. But the fools will not see the wise man. The fools don't have eyes or ears to hear the wise man. But the wise man is still speaking in hopes that one day they will wake up, one day that they will arise, one day that they will pick up their blanket and start walking. They will not just they will not just sit. They will not just sit on their towel and sit on their bed. They want them to gather their bed. Why was it a bed? Because they were sleeping. They were sitting down. They weren't actively pursuing their life. When Christ healed the leper, okay, and Christ healed the lame, that's what it was. The lame, there is symbolism in that as well. There is divine symbolism in it, where you can see the action. Yeah, you can see the physical, religious, figurative and literal point of views, and then you can also see the symbolic aspect of it. that you can heal people with your heart because you are given these God-given capabilities for 100 years. Remember, you're going to die. So you are given these abilities. You are given these abilities for a short period of time. And it's important that you realize this because you have been gaslit your whole life to believe otherwise, that you are not powerful, that you are negative, that you aren't anything, that you aren't the creditor, that you aren't worthy, that you aren't anything, that you should just seek outside of yourself. It's your time. It's your time to evolve. It's your time to transcend. It's your time to unhijack your mind and I'm going to say it, unfuck your mind and really, relearn and unlearn things and relearn things, as Yoda says. And people will always have a problem with, they'll always say, these things don't align with these things. And I just see the judgment that have you ever met Buddha? And also when people refer to Buddhism as religion, it's not a religion. It's not a religion. It's not a religion. So it already shows me your unknowingness to, specific types of cultures. And the funny thing is there's so much judgment in it. There's so much judgment in it. Because if you were born in China, you would be a Buddhist, most likely, or a Taoist, most likely. But you were born in America, so you're born under these types of things. Have you considered that if you were born with a different name, you were born with a different color of your skin, that you were born with a different face, that you were born uglier or prettier, because that's all the judgment in America. If you were born fatter, or if you were born fitter, if you were born this way or that way, that you would have certain privileges and non-privileges. Have we seen that yet? And so, but we also don't see it in our own religious convictions. We don't see it we see it as that we are the high and almighty, which is so funny because that's called self-righteousness. And I don't preach small, lowercase self-righteousness. That's not what I preach. That's not what I speak on. That's not what I talk on. That's not what I'm saying. But that is what other people generally in religious culture and indoctrination ultimately have been talking about, which is ultimately lowercase self-righteousness. And then they'll pass on and project that someone else outside of them has saved them, which is very interesting. Because I preach that Christ is inside of me, and I have to be rid my ego. I don't go out to eat and do all this type of, obviously, yes, I've had my things, but I'm saying the main thing is that we're not supposed to go and be gluttonous and eat onion rings and fries and chips and everything that literally has no nutritional value, that is considered a parasite, that we can see in microscopic scientific life forms and through scientific studies that these things affect our bodies. And by eating these things, this actually steals your energy. But we don't ever talk about that. We don't ever talk about that. We don't ever talk about changing your lifestyle, because your lifestyle is perfectly fine because you're a white American. Your lifestyle is completely fine because of the way that you have the privileges. Because you have the privileges of being how you look and who you are and all this type of stuff. When you could see it's our time as spiritual beings to be rid ourselves of the spiritual flesh. Of the physical flesh, and to ignite the spiritual Holy Spirit within us, the spiritual Christ within us. It goes beyond. It goes way beyond. Where if you were born in another place, you would believe another type of thing. So why do you judge them just because you were born in this place? And the funny thing is when they're in that place, they also judge you. So I find that's very interesting. That is just a shadow aspect of the collective unconsciousness of the human collective. That's really what it is. That is a shadow. That is a shadow aspect of the human unconsciousness, where we are at the point where if you think about it, if you were born, in this country, and you believed this religion, and you believed, and you were this color or not this color, and you spoke this way or not this way, then you would say, well, I hate everybody who speaks this way and acts this way and talks this way because it apparently doesn't align with my religious indoctrination, my belief systems, my political systems, my policies of what I've assumed or not assumed, my belief systems. Belief systems can change. What is a belief system? You could say, it's easy for me to attract high vibrational beings. That's a belief system. You can also say it's hard for me to attract high vibrational beings. That's a belief system. But guess what? It's all based on easy and hardness, and it's also based on my self-concept and the placebo effect. It's all based on whether I choose to believe it or whether I choose not to believe it. And then I give that inner tension. I give that a certain amount of energy. I channel a certain amount of energy into that belief system. And then therefore I perpetuate that cycle because I want to be right. I need to be right because I have this egoic aspect of having to be right. And so therefore, when you align your ego, and so when I align my ego with my spirit, which is what? Fasting. It's diminishing your flesh. It's putting your flesh in its place. When I start to put the flesh in its place, the spirit will just embody through it. Okay? That's really what it is. That's really what it is. The funny thing is we have so much to say when we can't read the language of other people's languages, but we have so much to say about what they say, but you can't read it. But we have so much to say about how people speak when you can't hear them, when you don't understand them. We have so much to say about other living beings that can't talk. I'm talking about other living beings that can't talk. Dominion doesn't mean domination. Dominion does not mean domination. Dominion does not mean domination. Okay? When we can start to see that we must wait and we must do nothing, we must be patient, we must neutralize disharmony. Neutralize. Not argue against, just neutralize it. Observe it and neutralize it. This will unlock miracles in a big way, in a bigger way. And they're on the way right now. Miracles are on the way right now. I'm delivering a lot of these things. And we understand, we overstand, we can comprehend that, yeah, if we were born in a different country, this would be our belief system. If we were born in a different family in America, this would be our belief system. If we were born into this family, we would be this wealthy. If we were born into this family, we'd be this poor. If we'd be born into this, we'd be in debt. If we'd be born into this, we'd be born in abundance. Are you going to be a victim of your life, or are you going to assume your life? Are you going to assume who you are? Are you going to assume position? Are you going to assume the position that you know that you're called to be, which is exactly what this video is about? It's not about being a victim. It's about being a victor. It's not about being a whiner. It's about being a winner. It's not about being bitter. It's about being better. It's not about showing yourself out the door. It's about showing up for yourself inside of yourself. Internally. Internal is eternal. How do you speak to yourself? And how you speak about others is also how you speak about yourself. That's why it's important to do they are affirmations. They affirmations, and he affirmations, and she affirmations. Because how many times you said, she ain't shit, he ain't shit. Those are affirmations. Those are suggestions. Those are subconscious placebo belief systems, whether you choose to believe it or not. Because if you really can see it, you have to reiterate and reprogram yourself that, no, there are real men. No, there are real women. There are also some very unconscious men. There's some very unconscious women. There are some very unconscious beings. There are shadow aspects to our human collective. Okay? And how does that evolve? The Christ collective. How we evolve the Christ collective to be, and how we build up the Christ collective to become. Okay? What is coming to earth, coming back to earth? Okay? That is Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is happening internally. That's how we don't know the day and the time and the space and the time and all this type of stuff. Is because we don't know when someone's going to awaken. We don't know when their time is going to be. We don't know when it's going to abruptly, synchronistically, and I'm looking for spontaneously. We don't know when they're spontaneously going to arise their consciousness. We don't know when they're spontaneously going to repent. We don't know when they're going to repent and turn from their ways. That's what repentance is saying, okay, I did wrong. Please forgive me. And you're talking about here. You're talking about, I don't want to have these thoughts anymore to go and do these wrong things. I don't want to have the feelings anymore of liking these things, because a lot of people like being in habits. A lot of people like being in toxicity, which is something that we talk about in AA, which is something that we talk about in all these private things. We don't need to go to half of these things. We just need to openly talk about it. And we need to openly talk about how can we learn from a drug addict? How can we learn from someone who is toxic so we don't do those things? It's about truly embodying and thinking twice, so then we only have to think once. Because you're born in a reality where you think twice about things, where you reconsider and you want to validate, you want to ask outside of yourself, you want to ask yourself 4 times, you want to contemplate, you want to do all these different things, when eventually you're going to get to the point where you say, all right, I know that I've gone through enough of the the thinking twice. I've done enough of the validating outside of myself to where I only need to think once. I already know what I'm supposed to do. I know how I'm supposed to do it. I know why I'm supposed to do it. I know what I'm supposed to do. And then that's where I'm getting called. That's where I'm called right now. That's how I'm being called for, to bring these types of things in my life. And my thing is I'm not going to defend myself. I'm not going to engage in negativity. I'm not going to have to over-explain or explain myself. I'm not going to personalize anything, because that has nothing to do with my personal reality or my personality, has nothing to do with my personhood, has nothing to do with TC, has nothing to do with the spiritual shepherd, has nothing to do with any of that. I am just a mediator. I am just a conscious mediator who is meant to speak for as long as I love to do it. And I'm going to make sure that I stay youthful. I'm going to make sure that I stay beautiful. I'm going to make sure that I stay confident. I'm going to make sure that I stay programmed properly and reprogrammed properly. I'm going to make sure that I take conscious autonomy and consensual action for my own actions and my own activities. And I'm going to consent to doing the best of my abilities for the Most High, that is ultimately has bought me for a price, has bought my physical body. That is ultimately what I do. And I'm not going to resonate with being a slave or an indentured servitude to a system that is completely destroying the planet in a multitude of ways, whether it's financially, that's where it starts, is economically and politically. And then it also goes into religious and doctrinational systems where we actually need separation of church and state, whether we the people see it or not. Why is it we the people, we the person? Why is it the personhood? It has nothing to do with the person. It has nothing to do with that. You are a living soul inside of a human. And if we don't identify as that, if we don't get into that type of identity, if we don't get into that type of identification, then how are we going to evolve? If you're always identified with, hi, my name's Alex. Hi, my name's Joy. Hi, my name's Peter. Hi, my name's whatever. Hi, my name's Kevin. If we are constantly identified with, hi, my name's this name, hi, this is when I was born, this is my age, this is my da 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 da. Are you age? Can you age? Can you age? Because you only age because you eat things that steal your energy, and you can cultivate your energy. So if you can build up your energy, but you eat things that steal your energy, what if you stop eating things that steal your energy and then also start to cultivate your energy, which is build upon your energy currently, and you can exponentially grow energy, because we already see nature around us is completely abundant. One tree can make 500 trees. 500 trees can make 500,000 trees. 500,000 trees can make different breeds and different. Okay, so stop thinking so little of yourself. Stop thinking so little of everything around you. Stop thinking little of other people. Do not think little of other people. Other people are divine in their own right. They're going through their own journeys, and guess what? They are going to go through their own placebo effect. They're going to go through their own conscious conversations. They're going to go through their own conscious confirmations. They're going to try to confirm and reconfirm and reaffirm, and some people are going to try to validate and go outside of themselves. And some people, it is necessary. It is necessary sometimes for validation. I'm just saying. But the people who are in the know, the people who are starting to build and are really growing and are really building their business, being an entrepreneur, really depending on themselves, really starting to, they might not know when their next meal is coming or whatever, But that's just the beginning aspect of entrepreneurship. There's the middle, there's the harvest aspect, that's the growth aspect, where you're in the growing phase where you're like, I don't know when my next meal is going to come, but I'm free, That's the entrepreneurship. That's the first like breatharian 3 where they're like, wow, I'm free from food. Wow, I'm free from drugs. Wow, I'm free from external sources of stuff. I don't need water as much. I don't need food as much. As much as people think I'm addicted to these things like coffee or something, I really don't need it. I really don't need food as much as I eat around people, it's because we have these conversations consistently in our heads and convince ourselves, and we are always talking to ourselves on our conscience. And we're like, this is how I talk. This is what I do. This is who I am. Instead of saying, is this who I am? Can I be a better version of who I think I am? And can I really start to resonate on a higher frequency? Can I start to not identify with my body or my mind can I start to be more the soul aspect, the observative, assertive aspect, the autonomous aspect of my living soul, me being a solution to the world rather than a problem to the world. I'm a solution. Okay, I'm a solar being. I'm a soul on planet Earth. I'm a soul in a body. I'm a soul who has a body. I'm not a body who has a soul. Okay, because the soul doesn't die. So that's what you are first. That's what you are first. The body dies. That already tells you that the body is in submission, which is ultimately, if you really think about it, that's what marriage is. That's what marriage is. If you really think about it, like your soul is like the masculine aspect. Just think about it. Even women, your soul is the masculine aspect, okay? And then your body is the feminine aspect, all right? So if you really think about it, you're gonna marry, okay? And till death do us part. Till death do us part, okay? And ultimately, if they are synchronized and they're if they're divine, if they're in divine sacred union, if they're unified in unity, the feminine will be saved through the masculine. This is like biblical. I know it's not everyone's going to want to agree with this, but this is very true. And you can even say it's based on the masculine and feminine polarities of the brain. You could say it's on the positive and negative aspects of the human emotion. And we can try to say that it's positive and negative. We can try to say it's like that too, but I think there's a necessity to have anger to some degree for some point of certain people's lives until they transcend it, until they transmute it, until they evolve from it, until they become conscious of their conscience in their how they're speaking to themselves, and they decide to speak to themselves and reprogram themselves differently. If you have any questions on reprogramming, seek me. Seek me for a consultation. We could do one-on-ones. We could do courses, anything that will benefit you and your life. We have all different types of things that will help you guys for, any payment plans or paid in fulls, something that fits your budget. We can always fit your budget for you guys. It's really just about spreading positive knowledge and true wisdom, not just segregating and separating, saying that it has to be this way or this way or this way. For it to be a certain type of way. And always watch your belief systems. Always watch your belief systems. You can reprogram yourself. Now, you were born. I want you to, we do know that from 0 to 7, you were programmed in theta, but you can also reprogram that theta state, but you have to choose to do that. Peace, much love, namaste. Talk to you guys soon.